Hey legends, and thank you for tuning in to take 2 of my live chat with Matt and Chris Woolley. I did just go live a few minutes ago, had a couple of tech difficulties trying to bring Chris on screen, so just another bit of a recap. He's won multiple podiums, he's an elite obstacle racer coming out of Australia but racing all over the world. He's taken out first place in the True Grit 24-hour Enduro team, first place men's health survival of the Fittest with a course record. He's first place Firefighter Stair climb. Wins trail races all over the place, and just recently had a tour over there in the USA, hitting Spartan races against the world's best. So I'll bring him on screen for you guys. Chris, how you going, mate?
Good, buddy. How you going? Good to see you.
Yeah, really good, man. Really good. And it looks like we've actually got you on screen this time, which is awesome.
Oh, awesome.
So how was your morning, man? I know I asked you 5 minutes ago, but what'd you get up to today?
Yeah, I had a good morning so far, mate. Stayed off the beers last night. Just had an early session this morning. A bit of a salt bike and ski erg, and a bit of an ice bath after. And yeah, good start to the day. Nice and fresh.
Man, what sort of status combines the assault bike with the ski erg?
Mate, yeah, some of the events coming up I'm training for, they've got them both in it. So, but I've been staying off my foot for a little bit. So yeah, assault bike's always good for that.
Yeah, cool. And that's the High Rocks events, I imagine.
Yeah. So the High Rocks, they're over in the States and Europe at the moment.
Yeah.
And
cool.
you've got the likes of like Ryan Kent, Hunter McIntyre, like Bracken and Cole Schwartz, and a few top games endurance athletes in there.
Yeah.
And it's basically just 8 by 1K run with a strength station in between each. Ski erg, rowing.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I've been following it, mate. I've been following it on the High Rocks Instagram and your Insta when you're over there, and I think Obstacle Racing Media is Matt B. Davis is poking his toe into that as well. It's looking interesting. It's sort of a mix between CrossFit and OCR, sort of halfway.
Yeah, it's definitely, you've got to be a good runner, but you need to be strong. So look at the top guys, Hunter and Kent, they're both winning it, and they're both big dudes, 90, 95, probably 90, 95 kilos, big guys, but the smaller guys, sort of more my size, are getting a bit washed back in the pack, but it's just power to weight, so if you've got a really good strength base, you can make it work, but...
Is that just when you're hitting things like the rower and things like the ski erg, you just need that fucking power to...
Not so much the rower ski erg. I mean, weight does play into that, but in High Rocks, 2 of the stations are a sled push and a sled pull.
Okay.
And the sled push is 50 meters at 210 kilos, I think.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much it's just a lot of friction, and it's 4 or 5 minutes all out, and it's just brutal. So same thing with the sled pull, 170 kilos, I think, with 25 minutes sled hand over hand rope pulls.
Yeah.
It's just pure strength. So the stronger you are, the easier it is in the running.
Sure. So the whippets are suffering a little bit more with that, and we've got a couple of guys jumping on live. Carlos, live take 2. Darren Williamson is saying good morning. Kerry Lushcombe's saying good morning, letting us know she's live. Guys, let us know. I've got about 10, 15 people online. Let me know if you're watching live. Don't be a creeper, unless you're into that. And if you are watching...
Brendan Hunt.
Just stroking where his moustache used to be. So yeah, let me know with the hashtag live if you're watching, guys. Let me know with a hashtag replay if you are watching this replay later. And for any questions that you've got for Chris, if you want to know a little bit more about High Rocks that we were just talking about, or anything at all, ask questions and I will try to weave them into the conversation. So I might not get to them straight away, but I will try to answer them as we go. Steve DeFries, I used to work with Steve over at UFC Blacktown when I was a face-to-face PT. I haven't seen you for ages, Steve. But we'll get back to Chris, mate. This is what the conversation is about. So, mate, you said you had a little bit of a fall last year, and I saw on your social media that's all sort of recovering, coming good.
Yeah, in the stadium race, that was the 4th race, and I think I don't know if you've seen the video. Someone got that slow-mo bid.
What I can do, I can actually bring it up on screen if you give me 1 sec. Usually I can load these into the software. Yeah, so here's the slow-mo, mate. So you're just jumping over some walls?
Yeah, it was the start of the fourth race, which was the AT&T Stadium race, and that was a big one with all of them there. Kent, Isaiah, Benny Gifford, Cole, Killian, and it was the first sort of 20 seconds of the race, and it was really slippery, and I went over the second, I think it was probably a 4-5 foot wall, and I've slipped, and someone's hit the back of my foot, and I've just landed on my both wrists.
Yeah, mate. I've just got the slow-mo happening at the moment. You're lucky you turned it around as much as you did. You could have pretty easily landed on your head by the looks of things.
Yeah, that's what a few people were saying, and I got up, finished the race, and that was one of my best races. I finished fourth behind it was Kent, Isaiah, Killian, and myself. But that was one where Killian and I had a sprint finish, and I passed him in that one. Probably 4 or 5 minutes left of the race. I went past him on one of the bleachers.
Finish strong. Come on,
get that feeling passing Robert Killian.
Yeah.
At the later stage of a stadium race, which he really likes. So that was pretty cool.
Mate, I've actually got that video too, so I'll just bring it up, mate, because it is cool. There we go.
Is that the
finish
the
strong?
Guys, or?
Come on, get that third, baby. Finish.
Can you hear that? Is that coming through your Skype?
I can't hear that. But,
that's okay. So it's you and Killian going across the monkey bars, mate.
Finish strong.
I think all my people can
get
hear
that
it.
third, baby. Finish.
Yeah, so that's the last obstacle probably.
All out.
I think we finished 1 second apart there.
Come on, Robert.
I think it was pretty slippery in the bars, but
finish.
I think looking back at it, I had a bigger jump, maybe gone a bit faster, could have got him, but mate, it was surreal going back and forth with him in that race. So yeah.
Well, mate, he's the world's best. So it's mate, to be able to finish 1 second behind him in a race shows the level that you're competing at.
Yeah, those stadium races, they suit me to the T. It's sort of that hybrid athlete, and the American stadium races, they take in the heavy balls, the weighted brown burpees. So it's a good race, and it's just 30 minutes, red line, lactic tolerance, VO2 work, and yeah, it's a good mixture.
Yeah, cool. And how much of that? Obviously, you did have that injury, and there was a bit of time when you had to stay off it. Is it back to full speed now?
Yeah. So it was one of those. It was a weird injury where I raced the next day. And the next day was the one where
you sound like an OCR athlete.
Yeah, because that was the 3 weeks in America. The first weekend was the double race, then it was a single race, then a double race, and that last race was the one I went back and forth with Isaiah, and I was leading him at the same stage. 3-4 minutes to go, he passed me on the Hercules, and we had that sprint finish on the monkey bars again. But felt pretty good, and 10 days later, the wrist was back to normal, both wrists, and did a training session, some grip work, and I think it's pulled the tendons, and pretty much to this day, I still can't put full pressure on my wrist, but I've wrist. A couple of my mates are physios, and they've wrist take for a while, and I've just managed done the rehab and worked around it, and they're pretty much back to normal. But sometimes I'm having to use my fist to put my fist down instead of my full hand.
Yeah.
But in OCR, we don't do a lot of full wrist down on the ground, so I'll be able to get around it.
Yeah, I've actually had something similar, man. Just in fucking yoga. I think I did too much yoga. How's that even possible? But just when I flex my wrist right up, I've got like a tightness under here, and it's fucking just niggling, man. It just won't go away. It's
they take a while, and you've just got to get into all your forearm flexors and extensors and your triceps, and just let it heal, and just run, do some sled work for a while, and it'll come back. But wrists are niggly, so
train around it. So how many races did you hit over there?
So I did 5 in the States, and
cool.
5 in the States. I got 3 podiums and a 4th, and then the very first race, actually, it was pretty tough pill to swallow. What happened was, so flown to the States, and I don't know if if you've heard of Yancey Culp.
Yeah.
So he's got Yancey Camp.
Yancey Camp. Yeah, you're one of Yancey Camp's athletes, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm one of his kind of pro roster athletes, and I've had a really good relationship for the last 2 years. And I stayed at his house in Austin for a week when I was over there this time, and he's just a good guy. And
seems it, man.
So he kind of but he started talking me up when I was coming over, and he was hyping me up, and saying Chris is coming over, he's going to shake things up. And so I was pretty nervous going into that first race. So I'm thinking, hey, if I bomb out here, I'm not only let Yancey down, but kind of everyone else. So I went into that race, and I couldn't actually get into the first start wave. And what happened was they took all seated on sets of 10 guys. So I got pushed back a few sets. And in the second set of 10 guys, and in a stadium race, you want to be there with the front guys. Otherwise, if you lose them, it's hard to get back. It's a bit different to a Spartan race. So one of the guys in the second heat ran through the tape and cut the course. And basically, we came through, and we just had 3 minutes of running around in circles. So this is my first race on US soil, and I'm feeling good, and I'm passing people. We get to this cut tape, which wasn't the guy's fault, and we're just doing laps, doing circles of just the bleachers.
Oh, no.
And I'm looking down, and I could see Yancey looking up, screaming, and it was it was just this split second where I thought, you know what, who cares? Just the marshals came over, they got us back on course, and I still finished, I think, about 20th in that race. Yeah, that was a pretty tough pill to swallow. So coming back the next morning, so this is at Fenway Park. So it's the first weekend of the USA tour I did. Came back the second morning. Kent wasn't running. Isaiah was again, and Yancey pulled some strings, got me into that first heat, because it all goes based on rankings and results, which is fair call.
Yeah, cool. So they sort of seed it.
Yeah, so it got me into that first heat with Isaiah, and I ended up finishing second to him by 20 seconds.
Yeah, cool.
And that was a cool feeling. Hitting that race kind of just grew my confidence, and as I went on through the other races, the same thing happened. So yeah, cool.
Awesome, man. And was it all stadiums, all 5 of them?
Yeah, all 5 were stadiums.
Yeah, so, cool. Which stadiums did you hit? You did say Fenway Park.
Yeah, Fenway Park was the first one. Then we hit Wrigley Field in Chicago, and then AT&T at the end of San Fran.
Yeah, cool. And one of the reasons why I'm talking to you now is we're 2 weeks away from a stadium in Australia, down at Marvel. Are you in shape for it, mate? Are you gonna smash it?
And I'm feeling good. There's a few fast guys out there. I know there's some pretty hungry guys looking to take that top spot, and they've been training pretty hard. But I like the stadium. I feel confident going in, and after last year, I got a new confidence I'd never had. I actually started practicing obstacles and practicing balance beam and spears, and I'm pretty pumped for this one.
How much more competitive is it overseas? Obviously, it's 10 times the size over there. They've got 10 times the population. It started in America. It's huge in the USA and Europe. It is a very small sport in its infancy in Australia. So I imagine the competition is a bit fiercer over there. Yeah,
I mean, they've got 10 times population. There's just races every weekend, every city. It's a cool vibe over there, similar to here, but there's just more people. So they do a really good job of that.
Yeah.
And there's more Spartan Pro team guys. There was 20 guys deep in all those races that were just hungry and just really good top athletes. So there's probably two or three more times the amount of top elite guys at the start.
Yeah.
And then they've got, I think they had 12, sort of like 12,000 people going through a weekend in a stadium race, Saturday, Sunday races.
Fuck. I reckon 12,000 competitors would be a wet dream for Spartan Race Australia.
Oh, they'd love it. I'd like to see how many went through on back in 2015 on that at Homebush. I'm not sure how many went through that stadium, but I think I think they must get the stadiums cheaper and there's more people going through, but it's pretty cool over there.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it down in Marvel, so it'll be a good race. And mate, how did you get into it? How did you get into OCR? How did you get competitive in this sport?
I kind of grew up playing tennis and then playing soccer. So I was always doing tennis, soccer, cross country running, track running at school. And I just always just love being active. And then I sort of stopped playing soccer when I was about 20, 25, just getting some niggles and some injuries and bad tackles. And I sort of went away from that and just, I needed to fill that void, that something was missing. And like I love training, but I love training for something. Mm-hmm. And then I think I did a few trail races. I think I did a city to surf. And I think one of my first ever events was trying out for the 24-hour. It was a 24-hour Tough Mudder sort of tryout for that Tough Mudder Australian team. I don't even know what year that was. I think maybe 2015. And that was with like Lockie Dancy. I think Lockie dominated that year. Brendan Hunt was there, and Ryan Roberts, and a few other guys. And I hadn't run over it. I think I'd done a 14k city to surf. I think we covered about 80, 90 Ks and 10 hours of, cross training, and it broke me. Like I was out for 3 months, but I sort of came back and I was in love with it. So it's just,
Cool.
It's awesome.
Cool. And what does your standard training week look like to compete at this level?
So over the years, I've sort of like fine-tuned to where I'm at now, because it is pretty hard. And I mean, there's a million ways to skin a cat for OCR, and depending on the athlete and the I don't like saying it depends, but it sort of is getting specialized now. So it depends on what sort of race you're training for and what sort of athlete you are.
Definitely.
As everyone sort of knows, and Australia is a bit more kind of, there isn't really specialization in Australia yet. So you'll do the beast, you'll do the super, you'll do the sprint, and then there might be 2 or 3 other races. So you'll do them all. So you're kind of a jack of all trades, and you want to be good at long, good at short. But in America, there's guys now kind of peaking for the stadium races. There's guys who are peaking for Tahoe or Abu Dhabi now. And just depending on the athlete you are, it doesn't really answer the question. But I'll tell you how I personally train for mine. Going around in circles here.
That's okay. I got time.
My focus at the moment is it's on that kind of that stadium style race.
Sure.
So that's a 30-minute effort. But I also want to be good in the longer races too. So I don't want to give away everything, because there is a Stadium World Championships this year. They haven't announced it yet, but I've heard it could be in Abu Dhabi end of the year.
Cool.
So it could be big money over there, and it's just a cool, fun event. So that's what I'm going to be sort of training for, and then throw in the high rocks work as well. Yeah, cool. Which is like a 60-minute sort of like red line threshold. So if you're good for a 30 and 60, you're kind of good for longer stuff as well. Yeah. So I kind of look at my training, and I want to have a real, in the energy system side of it, I'm going to have a really good aerobic base. So that's all your long, slow running. You look at like people like Jack Daniels, like a really good book's Jack Daniels running formula. Kind of outlines all the right principles of like a polarized approach. So, 80% of your training's low and slow and aerobic, and then 20% where you dial it in. You've got your lactate threshold, your intervals, your hill sprints. So you build that really big base, and then you have that lactate threshold work.
What was that book, mate? I'll just write it down. I'll throw it in the comments for anyone later.
Jack Daniels running formula.
Because I think half of my viewers, mate, think you're talking about something else when you say Jack Daniels.
Yeah, so you just get a bottle of Jack Daniels and then you do a shot.
Then you just fucking run. I reckon that's happened a few times in the middle of the 24-hour enduro, mate, at like 2 a.m. Bit of a hard starter.
100%. I think I'm pretty sure I've seen Lockie sip it on tequila bottles in the morning. But actually, you'll have to ask me about the beer mile races we've been doing. Because that does involve sculling beers and running.
Mate, I used to love a beer. I gave up drinking in 2019, but I've spewed running drunk many times, so it's something I don't miss. So it was Jack Daniels running formula?
Yeah, Jack Daniels running formula. He's like an old school American running coach, really well looked up to, and it's got some really good principles in there, really good running programs from the 800 meters right up to the marathon. And he kind of sets it out in a way, and it's a really good book. So I really like that. So I follow a lot of his principles, but I like to have, really good aerobic base and always keep my lactate threshold work in. So that's working up to like, sort of 8, 9 out of 10. If you've had a VO2 test done, they can actually work out your lactate threshold.
Okay.
It's around 90% of your max heart rate. So
Yep.
you might work up to 90%, come back to aerobic. So get your body used to tolerating that build-up of lactate, and then become good at shuttling it out. So really good working on your aerobic system. And whenever I'm doing a lot of my energy system work, I'll kind of work out roughly, let's say I'm doing 6-7 hours a week of that. I'll try and do, say, maybe 5 hours aerobic and then 2 hours threshold and VO2 work. And then depending on where I'm at with my running, I might be running 30 or 40K, and the rest of it I'll supplement with ski erg, bike, rower, sled work, a lot more low impact work. So, I mean, some people can go out there, they can run 100K a week, they can run 100 miles a week. You look at some of these guys. I'm only running about probably 30K a week, which is pretty low volume, but it allows you to stay a lot more injury free.
Yeah. And if you've got a good base, you're sort of just maintaining that.
Yeah, 100%.
As you said, you're not pushing for that super long distance stuff, so
No.
You've sort of got an opportunity cost in your training. If you're spending all your time pushing weights, you're not going to get good at fucking running upstairs, are you?
No, not at all. But I do a fair bit of strength training. I am a bit more biased to the strength work because I'm doing things like high rocks, stadium races. You know, when you've got a bigger front squat, bigger walking lunge, or you can do a 100-meter walking lunge with a heavy weight, running up those stairs, you're going to have a lot better chance of not dying as quick. But
for sure.
Yeah, strength work is kind of key because it keeps the injuries at bay, and it keeps your economy of work rate up. So every stride you're sort of taking, less effort, lower heart rate, and then less injuries, and then working into all your strength work, doing your strength endurance and your stability, all your single leg deadlifts and your lunges,
pistol squats and Bulgarian splits and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And then staying on top of recovery too. Recovery is a big one as well, which we can touch on later.
Yeah. How many? I was sort of digesting that. I think you're probably sitting around 20 hours a week training. Would you be?
No, I'm probably around 13, 14. I think. But
you must be running that 40Ks fucking fast then.
Well, I'm probably running, to be honest, I'm probably running about, I do a bit of a wave loading. So I base all my training program around a guy called, it's called Westside Barbell. I don't know if you've heard of them. So basically
sounds familiar.
So the guy who created it's Louis Simmons, and he's a guy from the States, but they're power lifters.
Yeah.
So they're the guys who power lift, 1,200 pounds. So they're squatting 500-600 kilos, but I use their approach. So they use wave loading, and for example, I'll use it in my running. When I'm trying to build my running up, I'll run, say, week A, 20Ks, week B, 30, week 4, I'll do 40, and then I'll come back week 4 and I'll deload. So I'll take all my strength, all my weights off, everything down, low, pretty much low impact, and I'll run 10Ks that week. Then I'll come back the next block and I'll run 25, then 35, then 45, back to 15.
Yep.
And I do that with all my strength work. And
It sounds familiar, Westside Barbell. I feel like I've ended up on a blog of theirs at 2 a.m. one fucking morning while I've been deep in the research cave.
They've got some really cool stuff. If anyone's looking and getting just weird niggles and they're not feeling strong, they're really big on sled work and restoration work. So lots of banded higher volume sets. You'll be doing things like get a light sled, do a 5-minute reverse walk, get some bands, do 5 minutes of leg extension with a light band. So it's all about blood flow, restoration. And just throwing a session like that in once a week does wonders for the body. Gets all the ligaments and the tendons strong. They're really good. So
awesome.
And they work well with some of the runners too.
Cool. And just had a question, Kerry Lushcombe, with the upcoming stadium in Melbourne, so much concrete and a few CrossFit obstacles. Anything that immediately comes to mind to look out for? Do you tend to get bigger jam ups with the crowds at obstacles? So a lot of the people that are watching this probably haven't been around since 2015, and they probably haven't done a stadium, and don't really know what to expect. So what's involved obstacle wise? What can the people be ready to look out for?
Yeah, so I mean, the obstacles, I think there'll be 20 obstacles in the stadium. Depending on what they throw in, I'm pretty sure they did just release the course map a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you go onto the Spartan page and have a look at that. You can see the 20 obstacles they've got. They will have things like box jumps, so and dead ball slams. So you're gonna have all your standard monkey bars, your balance beams, your sandbag carries, but then everything's a bit shorter and a bit more high intensity. So the key with stadiums is for all the obstacles, go in with purpose and intensity. So you'll be running in fast, hitting the obstacle, get straight into it, get through it, and then move out fast, because seconds play a big part in a stadium race. Whereas if you're out for an hour, like a 2 hour beast, seconds don't matter. But in looking at my last 2 races, we were 1 second, between 1 and 4 seconds between myself and Isaiah and myself and Killian, which is a bit quicker on an obstacle. And some of the obstacles do have standards. So for example, like box jumps, you'll need to jump up to the box, get full extension, stand up tall, hips through, and then come back down. Slam balls, you've got to get above the head.
Yep.
And yeah, so just go on. There's a lot of good videos on YouTube. Go on to YouTube. A lot of guys in the States have filmed all their races. I did this before the States. Basically, I went on to about 10 or 15 random videos, and they'll run through the whole course. So you'll see them do the jump rope, the box jumps. You'll see them do all these obstacles. Watch 2 or 3 of them, and you'll go into Melbourne and just be like, oh, cool, I've already seen this, and have a good idea of it.
Cool. I've actually, just while you were talking there, I dug out the post on Spartan Race Australia, New Zealand. So I've just got that map up there. So, but yeah, what I'm hearing there is the transition time matters. So don't fuck around. You can catch your breath at the end.
Go in hard, go out hard, and just
push through the lactic acid.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. And Matty Probes, he said, how do you not trip up the stair in a stadium race? I reckon you've got a fair amount of experience running upstairs.
Yeah, I've done a few stairs in my day, a few firefighter like stair climbs, and I mean just bit of specificity. So on a couple year sessions, maybe this week or next week, go out and run some. What I do is I go to my local oval, Brookie Oval, where the Manly Seagulls play, and I don't do a whole lot of concrete training. Like I don't like to, all year be running concrete, pounding it. I'll do more like grass and trail and like true form runner. But then you want to get that specificity in. So I'll go down and I'll do some like 1K or mile repeats, and I'll have runs into the stairs, sandbags, and I'll simulate running sandbags around and just practicing up and down the stairs.
Yeah, cool.
And there's a lot of different techniques for like even coming down the stairs, running sort of turning sideways and then double or triple staring down, and just sort of getting confident. So if the first time you touch some stairs is up the stadium, it'll be a little harder. So, I mean, the stairs everywhere, every little park you get, you don't need huge stadiums, even if it's say 10 or 12 stairs. Just go in and practice running some, hard 200s or 400s, or some lunges into the stairs up and down, and then back out. So,
Yeah, cool. I know heaps of people who are out at the beaches, and there's so many sets of stairs along the coast, and they just run sets, intervals up the stairs. And so the best way you're going to get good at stairs is running fucking stairs. Which
100%.
is probably not what you wanted to hear, Matt, to be honest, but it's no.
Also,
it's
box
no
jumps. I mean, you can do if you're in a gym, you've got box jumps, you've got broad jumps, you've got single leg hops to a plate, skipping. So if you build up that lower body, like power endurance,
bit of explosive.
You're going to be a lot better. Your hip flexors, get your hip flexors nice and strong. You're going to be a lot better off.
Yeah, cool. A couple of people letting us know that they're live, and my sister from the Goldie. What keeps you going back? Why are you hooked on OCR, man?
I think I'm just I don't know. There's something about it that it's just different. It's the community's real. I love the community, and to be honest, I was never going to be a professional runner. I'm not good enough for that. I was never going to be a CrossFit hub. I'm not strong enough for that. So I kind of found that middle ground. I think a lot of people just love that that combination of the running, the strength, you it gets you strong for life because you're moving around, you're crawling, so it has so many implications on further. But I'm just hooked at the moment because those last few races, just losing by 1 second to those guys made me hungry. So I want to come back next year and beat them. So
this year, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, that's it.
So, which is December 4th and 5th. It's
that's the world champs.
Yeah.
But I think there's a stadium world championship, so separate, which may be around.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I've heard there's going to be a stadium world championships, but possibly around the same.
Abu Dhabi's been unofficially official for fucking 3 months, but they only just announced it 2 days ago.
I don't know. I saw, and that's just going to be a spatter in the works for all the mountain runners, and I think that's it's awesome for the sport. Levels the field, takes altitude out of it, takes the mountains out of it a little bit, but sand's going to be brutal, so that could be a good one for us with all our sand around.
Yep. I run sand dunes boot camps over at Cronulla. Do you ever get over there to the Green Hills sand dunes?
Yeah, Wanda. Yeah.
Yeah, mate.
I've been over about, I've probably been 5 or 6 times. I've been with Lockie Dancy before. I know that's one of his stomping grounds.
No, it's fucking brutal.
Brutal. We'll have to go over soon. I'm keen.
Mate, I'll run one soon when it's not 40 degrees outside. Yeah. Like it has been. I'll tee one up. Big Jim Bullard will bring his log that he drags behind him and probably a tyre, and we'll see how many people we can make spew. It's a good time.
It's good training. I'll bring a few sets of turnout gear and you can wear one. So
perfect. I'll wear pretty much fucking anything. So
yeah, nice. I like it.
My sister's just backed up. How do you deal with DOMS? Delayed onset muscle soreness, not getting tied up in the bedroom.
Yep.
And we were going to talk about recovery. So yeah, what's your go-to recovery? Are you in the ice bath like everyone else?
Yeah, so I like ice baths. I do a few things. The thing with DOMS is you don't always if you're always training to hit that DOMS and you think, I've hit the DOMS, that's good, I've got a good workout in, you're overdoing it a bit because you're delaying the time that you can train again. You always want to save a little bit in the tank, unless you're doing a race simulation or you're doing some testing for a certain event, all out, you have some DOMs. You sort of want to leave that 1 or 2 reps in the tank so you don't really get to that DOMs. So you're fresher, you'll bounce back and you don't sort of overtrain as much. But if you do get to the DOMs, I always like to finish any sort of hard training, impact sessions with 5 to 10 minutes of really low aerobic cool down. So I'll do nasal breathing. I'll just get on the spin bike or the assault bike and 50 to 60% heart rate, 5 to 10 minutes, just flush out that lactic acid and let the body come back into a parasympathetic state, which is your rest and digest.
Yep. So you're doing a lot of nasal breathing and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I do a lot of nasal breathing and using the breath as gears. Yep. I got a lot of that off all the the Laird Hamilton, the XBT guys, Brian McKenzie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, nasal breathing is a great one. Pre-session, post-session, and then I do all my aerobic training nasal breathing. We can touch on that after if you want. It's a game changer for a lot of people, just becoming more efficient with running. But with DOMS, finish your hard sessions, even if it's a big, heavy, leg session, squat session with 5 minutes, just really easy on the bike or the assault bike, nasal breathing, come back into rest and digest, and then you might want to just hydrate well, maybe some foam rolling, and sometimes you'll use ice baths, and then basically good nutrition as well. Yeah,
cool. And somebody else has just said Darren Williamson dealing with DOMS this morning after last night's night race. So he would have been up doing the Beerwah Trail Marathon overnight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A couple of clients up there hitting that. Good work getting up there, Darren.
Yeah, I'd always the day after getting out, just a little shakeout run or ride.
Bit of active recovery.
Really slow. Yeah, really slow. You might be running 6-7 minute pace. Yeah. I usually like to do a low impact, so I'll choose a bike or an assault bike or get on my fixie.
Something a bit easier on the knees.
Yeah, and just 15, 20 minutes, just flush it out, get the body moving, get some active recovery in, just some good stretching, some foam rolling, get a little spiky ball trigger point, get into the hips, And yeah, just let yourself recover that day.
Yeah. Mate, I always do it after like your 12-hour enduros or your 24-hour enduros or stuff like that, and you wake up the next day and you're just fucked, like you can hardly move. It's like the worst DOMS you've ever had, and I'm always like, I know I feel better if I go to the gym, but I just don't, and then I go like 6 hours later and you feel immediately better just with a bit of active recovery, and I'm like, why didn't I do this 6 fucking hours ago?
100%. And just letting the body recover and heal. And you can use a couple of techniques like looking at resting heart rate, or a really cool thing to do is use HRV, heart rate variability. And a lot of like Premier League teams and professional teams used to use this before some of the new methods came out, which are really expensive. But HRV is basically get on your phone, get a free app called Elite HRV, get a Bluetooth strap, and in the morning you do basically a 3-minute or 4-minute measurement, and it takes like an ECG of your heart, links back to your phone, and over 3 to 4 weeks you'll get a baseline of what your heart rate variability is. And what that's telling you is how much into parasympathetic or sympathetic you are, so rest and digest, fight or flight. And then you can look at the trends and sort of what sessions affect you more, and you can wake up in the morning and you can feel good, but you'll get a low HRV score and you're in the red, and you can basically take an easy day. But it's good because after a race, you can sort of see when you're ready to go again. And you can also use it prior to a race, and you can see how long you need to taper. There's a lot of science that goes into it. So if anyone wants any info on it, just send me a message, and I'll send them some links and resources. But for the price of like an $80 Bluetooth like polar strap and a free app, it's got some pretty awesome data you can use.
I've got a Garmin. I think I'm going to get the triathlete one because just so it's waterproof and does everything.
Yeah, the HRM. That's the one I've got.
That's what I've got coming. I've also just ordered a Aura Ring, which is like the sleep tracker. I thought that might have been what that was.
Yeah.
How do you rate them, man?
Mate, it's really good. I got it for like a Chrissy birthday present from my wife.
So was mine.
I've always looked at it and been fascinated. I was tossing up between this and the Whoop strap. But
I'm hearing mixed reviews.
I'm not a fan because I don't want to wear a strap all the time as well as my watch. It's an ongoing membership, so you end up paying for it for life. And I like to look at sleep's the key. And this ring's the king.
Mate, I've literally just had this size, the little plastic size one that they put on. So I've had this on for the last 24 hours, and it's all good. So we've just ordered it, but that's exactly it. The sleep. So how does it work, man?
So basically, I mean, the science is pretty gnarly, but you get a snapshot of what sort of, what things in the night before are leading to good and bad sleep. Late meals on your phone, heavy meals, heavy training. You wake up in the morning and get a score basically of your readiness, your readiness to train. It measures your HRV. You can see how much REM sleep, deep sleep you've had, but you can sort of start like using ways to change the amount of REM and deep you get, and you can look at trends and see what things you're doing really affects you. And it just gives you a number, which is really good because it's easier to say, hey, I won't use my phone at night, I won't get that blue light, I won't stuff my melatonin release. But then, 2 months later, you're still doing it. But when you actually wake up in the morning and you have this little snapshot and you see it and you're like, oh, wow, my sleep was really bad. Like, I don't use my phone now at night. Basically, this has helped me a lot. I was pretty good before, but it sort of reinforced it because you wake up and you get those bad scores. So it's sort of like just building good habits. So, it's something where I think you use this ring for like a year. In a year's time, your sleep will go through the roof, and you can track every metric. You can see every single trend, times you've gone to bed. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think you'll love it.
Mate, I think I will too. My sleep is a nightmare. So I think being able to analyse how much worse your sleep is after you have a big feed of pizza just before bed, compared to some good food. You've got that data, which is that accountability, right?
Yeah, 100%. And you can see, what do 2 wines do compared to 7. So
Well, that's the biggest one that I've seen. I've got a couple of friends over in that I met over in Hawaii. Jono Blodgett, so he's the age cat world champion for Spartan.
Yep.
Him and his, I think it's his partner Bree. They both have the aura, and they were the ones who were telling me about it, and they just said it's amazing just for how much they see. They go out and have a few drinks, and you don't need much to like completely fuck your REM. Like it's super,
100%.
super interesting.
Yeah.
So
I've learned some pretty cool things. So yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it.
Yes. So Miranda's just asked, what's the ring called? So it's called an aura. So I've just commented that in the chat window there, but I'll do a bit of a write up on it once I've got it and I've played with it for a month or two. Miranda, I'll let you guys know. With my my monthly newsletter that's going out, there's going to be a product review every month now, so I'll just start talking about the shit that I use. So what other tech have you got, man? It looks like you're pretty teched up. You're speaking my language.
I mean, I'm not really. I don't actually use a lot of gadgets and tech. For the last kind of 3-4 years, all I was using was, just the straight up. You're in your own intuition, readiness to train. Wake up in the morning. Am I pumped to train, or just going for a short run or the gym just make me want to cry? So I've always used that. And then the HRV strap. For someone to go out and spend $80 on a strap and a free out, it's pretty much an $80 off one investment. That's what I've always used for the last 3-4 years. The O-ring's been the latest one, and I actually got a GoPro. So GoPro is going to be the next big one, but I don't know how to use it. Spent 8 hours trying to put music onto a video yesterday, so I've pretty much throwing that in the bin. So
yeah, mate, it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve.
Yeah,
if you go back and watch my first videos from a few years ago, they're fucking pretty ordinary. So it takes a while.
Well, that'll be mine next week then.
Yeah. So Bill's just asked, how do you fix nasal breathing if he's never been able to? It really dries my throat. And one of the before you sort of answer, when we're doing the 12-hour hurricane heat at not the 12-hour, the 4-hour hurricane heat at Bright 2019. They made us do an exercise called Chimera, which apparently the Spartan Warriors did, where they filled you had to fill your mouth with water, and then so your mouth's full of water, and then we had to run laps around the oval, and the water had to stay in your mouth. So it's forcing you to nasal breathe with a mouthful of water while you run. That was
they used to do that.
Man.
They used to do that with the Spartan kids, I think, training up. Like when they were like 5 years old, they'd have a mouthful of water, and if they got back from their 10K desert run, and they'd swallowed the water, they'd get beaten. So that's pretty brutal. But
we're not allowed to yell at kids on fucking iPads.
Mate, I know, it's ridiculous. We're getting a bit soft, but it's just practice. It's one of those things where when I first started, let's say 3 years ago, I just implemented, I'd do a warm-up for 5 minutes, nice, very easy low, and I'd try and nose breathe. And I wouldn't even make it through the session, like the 5-minute warm-up, and I'd have to use my mouth because I'm just not used to it. So it's just practicing, it's training. And then over time, it's just slowly implementing it more. So I went from just the warm-up, every warm-up I did in cool down, to, all right, I'm going to go on a 30-minute, 75% heart rate run, and I'm going to try and just nasal breathe. Yeah. And then over time...
Give me half a sec, man.
Yeah, bud.
There we go. Sorry, as you were, I'm just sure I had a strip of some nasal strips in my bag I wanted to show some people.
Yeah, so there's a few things there, like the strip you're probably going to show, which opens your nose up and allows you to nasal breathe a bit better. So I know a few people have had deviated septums and just it's horrible. But over time they'll get better and better. There are, if you go on to XPT, like Brian McKenzie and Laird Hamilton's resources, they've got all these different breathing protocols and alternate nostril breathing that you can use to open your nose, get better at it. I learned a lot through those guys. And then it's just, the more you do it, the better you go. So after time, start off in just the warm-ups, then you'll get to a point where you can do a 60-minute aerobic run, just nasal breathing, because you're a lot more efficient when you nasal breathe. Your heart rate's lower, so it's less effort, which, if you're expending 3% less effort, end of a race, that's 4 minutes sort of thing in a beast. And then you get into the thing where you start using your breath as gears. So it gets quite complex, but a simple thing is just gear 1 is nose in, nose out. So just full nasal breathing. So that's nice and easy, relaxed. Gear 2 is up to like your lactate threshold. So that's nose in, mouth out. And then gear 3 is mouth, mouth. So that's all out. Some people break it down and use, 5, 6 levels. Yep. But I like to use that with people because it's easier to learn. Just simple. Nose for your easy stuff. Nose, mouth, nose in, mouth out, and then mouth for your all-out efforts.
Yep.
And over time, you'll get to a point where you can almost, like I'll be able to do lactate tolerance and, do hard repeats and just nasal breathe still.
Yeah, wow.
And I'll practice do it. But it's just a process. Start small and easy, throw it into your warm-ups.
Yep.
Over time, add them, and then jump on them. We can add those links. I can give them to you after for people to do a bit of research.
Yeah, cool. I've been getting into it a little bit more. I started yoga pretty hardcore in 2019, just after picking up so many niggles, and my mobility's always been terrible. And obviously, breathing is a huge component of it. And I sort of got into this parasympathetic, sympathetic, like you're always in this fight or flight mode. And the first 5 minutes of the class, you're just trying to get that breath right. And then I sort of noticed that I could do it when I ran. And like my heart rate can be at 180 and I can get conscious of it and then go switch to nasal and it'll drop to like 165 like in 10 seconds. Like, it's fucking incredible. Yeah. A guy that I was actually at the Gold Coast with last week, Mick Stewart, he's a Spartan runner. He strength and conditioning coach up there, trains Spartans. He runs a lot of hurricane heats as well. He actually got me onto these nasal strips. And I've had the man flu this week, so I haven't had a chance to try them. But basically, they sort of open your nose out for the people watching at home. So if your nose is super blocked, and maybe nasal strips are the way to go.
Yeah, I have seen them, and I've been meaning to try them, but I just haven't gotten around because I've been pretty lucky and I've fell into it, and it's quite good. But it definitely would help no matter what level you're at. Super
beneficial. Like he does it with all of his clients, whether they're athletes or whatever. And he says just like he'll get just his everyday clients who are like working in offices, and he'll say, all right, on your deload week, all of your training nasal breathing.
Yeah,
and their fucking sleep goes through the roof, their stress levels drop, they're actually pushing heavier weights because all of that's happening. Like if you can start to make those changes and implement that into your training, it's going to do you a world of fucking good.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ways to help people is use a deload week. That's what saved me. So I do a structure where I'll work hard for 3 weeks and then I'll deload for a week. Because what a lot of people are doing is, and if I used to do this, I'd work hard and I'd be 9 weeks in, and I get to the 10th week and I'm either injured or I'm just like, I'm over it. I don't want to train. I don't want to do anything. My body's just needs a break. So work hard for 3 and then let yourself super compensate and let all the fitness occur in that 4th week where you just recover, work on your niggles and rebuild. If there's a lot of races in the season, people find it hard. So what I get them to do is the taper week is basically their deload week. So nice and easy. That is when there's like, sometimes there's a race every month or a race every 3 weeks and it gets hard. So I work hard for 3 and then deload and taper at the same time. But it's a game changer.
Yeah, cool. Mikey's asked a couple of questions. Mikey Groom. I've just seen his fucking question pop up. He's just said, how are you both so damn good looking? But he also asked on the Instagram during the week. He runs the Instagram Spartan Race from Inside. And he said, how do you maintain your devilishly good looking moustache?
So we started this conversation, 10 o'clock this morning. I started getting ready at 7. So it's only 3 hours, that's it.
You don't wake up ready? You don't pop out of bed like that?
This is actually all stuck on. So I just find all the little bits of hair and glue it on. And then 3 hours, that's all you need.
It looks a little bit like Hunty's moustache, actually.
Yeah.
He also asked on the Instagram, Happy Healthy Hunts, how does he keep his hair so long and luscious during races? Pantene Pro V.
There's lots of good product, yeah.
Lots of product. You're not giving away your trade secrets?
Mate, I don't know. Just lucky, I guess.
Blessed. Sweet, mate. I was hoping a couple of the boys would get on and put some shit on us, but they're all probably out training, mate.
Yeah.
All good.
Training for that first stadium.
That's it. Trying to squeeze into their Marvel costumes. Bill's just said he's gonna bring some nasal breathing into his training. Bill, you're local to me, man. Let me know if you've got problems with your nose, and I'll flick you one or two of these. Send me a message, buddy. So let's talk nutrition, man. What do you eat? What do you fuel yourself with? Just normally, what do you eat? And then we'll talk about racing after.
Yeah, so I follow a pretty balanced diet now. I've tried all the different diets only because I read a lot. I read a lot, listen to a lot of podcasts, and you get curious. You know, I've tried keto. Back in the day when we were doing the endurance stuff, I was like, keto looks pretty cool, and I tried it, and it worked well for endurance events that are going 12 hours plus sort of thing.
Yep.
But in kind of Spartan racing, you need carbohydrates, especially when you're doing shorter sprints and supers. You need that glycogen. Yep. So I'm pretty balanced. Lots of good quality. I'm not opposed to, there's all these, try the vegan diet, try the carnivore diet, and every diet will work, but only up to a point, I'm guessing, and depending on the person. So it's sort of working out what foods are good and bad for you, because person A and person B could have the same diet, but one person might be eating bananas and it's just throwing their stomach off non-stop. What I actually did a couple of years ago, probably about a year ago, I got this test, and it was called a Viome test. Okay. And VIOME, and
I've not heard of it.
It's basically a really cool gut test.
Oh, testing all the biomes. So what bacteria are in there? Okay.
Yeah. So it basically gives you this. There was always all these tests out there, and gut tests, and they're always $1,000 and super expensive. And but this Viome test, it was from America, and it was really well talked about and researched, and great reviews by all the top people in America, like some doctors and scientists and people like Ben Greenfield and people like that. And it's like $130 test, and they send it over. You do your sample, which is quite fun, and then you send it back, and then you get this result, this panel, and it's basically foods that are really good for you, foods that are okay, and then foods stay away from. And I started using that and implementing that, and that was pretty amazing because I had some foods on there that I was just smashing, and it was just like a no-go, like something like kombucha. It's everyone thinks it's amazing, but for me it was just messing with me, and I cut that out and made a few little tweaks, and that was a pretty cool thing. But if you don't want to go spend the $150 on that kind of test, it's just seeing what works for you. Eating good quality meats, go for your good quality grass-fed meats.
Sorry, vegans.
I like, sorry, vegan. If you are vegan, I mean, you're going to need to throw a few supplements in there, your B12s and a few things, but we won't go down that whole.
Let's not open that fucking can of worms.
I'm pretty balanced, I'll have good quality meats, good quality carbs, like lots of good sweet potatoes and good raw honeys, and I'm pretty simple, and lots of good quality fats, and, your avocados and your nut butters, but it's just sticking to what works well for you, because everyone is so different.
So it sounds like just staying away from processed shit, natural, whole foods, just good quality premium fucking fuel.
Yeah.
If you put E10 in your car, it's not going to fucking last as long.
100%. And the biggest thing too is, though, everyone is looking for that next diet, that next like magic trick. It's just eat good quality food and eat enough of it. Don't undereat, and don't worry about it too much. Don't be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
If you have to start thinking about it, and every time you eat, you get that stressful situation, your body's just going to be like, it's going to shuttle the food the wrong way. You're going to get stressed. You're going to get inflamed. So it's just being comfortable and enjoying the food, and enjoying your burgers and your pizzas and your donuts and your beers. Not every day, but just definitely enjoy them. Otherwise, you just go nuts.
Yeah. Cool. I just had to look at my phone then because I couldn't remember the name of a book, but there's a book by a guy called Matt Fitzgerald who's really cool. He's a sports journo, but he's written a heap of books about endurance performance and stuff with a scientist. I can't remember what his fucking name is, but he wrote a book called Diet Cults, and it's all about diet cults. It's all about what you should be doing and why these like fads take hold, and everyone's always looking for the miracle solution. But it's everyone is different, and it's interesting. There's a guy that a coach that I pay. So he's a PT who sort of trains PTs, and I sort of follow him for a bit of technical knowledge. And he put out some stuff on gut biome not long ago. His name's Luke Tulloch. He's a really, really fucking smart dude. He's got masters in a couple of things. He was talking like, you've got more living bacteria in your gut than you do your own cells in your body. And people talk about taking these probiotics and you should go and get your Yakults and your kombucha and all that shit. But everyone's biome is different. So there's no like one size fits all product. So you could be taking the probiotics that your gut flora goes, we don't need that shit, and just fucking kills it straight away, and you're just wasting your money until you know exactly what's in there, And
that's why this biome test was pretty cool, because it came back and gave you a snapshot of your biome, and based on your biome, you should probably have this. Like for me, it was like, don't have kombucha, have more turmeric, don't eat this food, eat more watermelon. There's a few little tweaks, like eat more sweet potato rather than normal potato. And after a couple of weeks, it was just changed everything. And I kind of I don't refer to it anymore, but I know those little things, and it's pretty cool. Yeah,
you sort of use the tool at the beginning to get your baseline. Once you know how everything's working, it's sweet. And an interesting thing too is it's dynamic, right? Your gut biome changes from when you're a baby to when you're an adult, and that's sort of part of the reason why you start to like different types of foods and don't like things you used to like. That's why when you eat fast food all the time, it doesn't really fuck you up that much, and you will crave it. But if you eat really healthily and then you eat fast food, it will like fuck you bad, because your sort of gut flora will adapt around the diet that it's being fed. So the better you fuel it, the better your gut flora is going to be. And so much of that is linked to your cortisol production. And like your gut inflammation is stress. So if you're eating bad, your stress is going to be through the roof, and that can cause all sorts of problems. So super interesting. What's your go-to pre-race meal?
Pre-race is, what did I do? Last few races in the States, I do some sort of, the only real foods I stick away from, I don't really eat a lot of bread and gluten. It just doesn't really sit well with me.
Sure.
And I can't really, some of the things, in America, I was just getting a good quality gluten-free cereal, some almond milk, some bananas, some raw honey. That's nice and light, good carbs, sits well with me. Maybe a little bit of collagen, protein.
Cool.
So I was doing that, get the same thing, and I had got the same cereal. It was just like a brown rice cereal I was getting in the States. So that was my good little brekkie. And then about an hour out would be a black coffee. A lot of people smash the coffee, 20 minutes before, but it takes about an hour for the caffeine to get into start hitting your body in the right way. So black coffee about an hour out, and then normally 20 to 30 minutes I'll have some beet elite. So it's just like concentrated beet powder. And maybe a little bit of raw honey with that, but it's pretty much go to.
I think I've seen Yancey Cup talking about that beet elite.
Yeah, so beet elite with, and sometimes a little bit of beta alanine in there. So it's good go to.
Beets are what I've read and what I've seen are like the superfood for endurance performance. Like it's one of the only things that they reckon actually helps your cardio and gives you a boost in that area. Bull was saying he drinks, like when I spoke to Jim Bullard, he said he drank so much fucking beet juice. Like it was something fucking ridiculous. It was like a litre. And he's like, piss is red. I'm like,
Yeah, I've heard that, and that's why the Beat Elite's pretty cool because it's concentrated.
Yeah.
It still turns it red, but it's just concentrated. You get that shot in. You don't have to eat 50 beats.
Yeah. Did you
Half an hour before red.
did you panic the first time you went for a piss and it was red?
I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's not right. But then I thought back, yeah, no, it's Elite, so it's good.
Cool. And Scott's just jumped in and said, what do we mean by deload weeks? Do you still train lighter or do you have the week off? I think you're talking about it in a much lighter. You're just backing off the intensity.
Yeah, so let's say I kind of bring back the volume to about between 50 and 75%, depending on how much of a deload you need. But you could bring your volume back to even 2/3 is a pretty good number. It's in the middle there. I'll do a bit more aerobic and a little bit less intensity. So I probably won't go out and do 10 by 400s that week. I might do something shorter and do some 200s and keep a little bit of intensity in there. So I'm still keeping some good muscle memory, but I'll never push myself to complete exhaustion. So let's say a normal session might be, say, 6 by 1K in the track. Let's say I go to the track and I do 6 by 1K with a couple minutes recovery. I might go and do 3 or 4 or 3 1K and just keep it nice and fresh and light. So I come out of that session and I'm feeling good. I haven't pushed myself. I'm still allowing my body to recover. And then I'll do more aerobic, and I won't max out any strength lifts. All my strength will come back to, say, 2/3 again, 60% of your normal weight. So if you're normally doing 3 sets of 10 squats with 60 kilos, I'll come back and I'll just do maybe some like 30 or 20 kilo light goblet squats and work on position, and spend a bit more time in the session doing some prehab stuff. So doing more single leg work, doing more glute and hip strengthening, focusing on the things that are going to help me recover.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers that, Scotty. And Vlad's just said, did you get any jet lag and climate issues when you travelled overseas? Obviously, you were in the States for a bit of time, but how did you adapt when you got there?
I was pretty good. I actually I've read a fair bit about jet lag and time zones and how to best combat it. And what I did was I tried to adjust to their time zone as soon as I could. So when I flew over, I took a bunch of vitamin C when I was flying just to help boost my immune system. And then what I did was, so everyone, when you go to sleep, you produce 2 hours before you go to bed, you produce melatonin. Your body starts to produce melatonin, so it helps to down-regulate your body and allow yourself to sleep. But if it's, if you're over there and the time zones are all out of whack, and it's 1 in the afternoon here and it's nighttime there, it's pretty hard to get to sleep. You might lie down, toss and turn, and you have a really bad sleep. So what you can do is you can get melatonin. It's just an easy
supplement.
Supplement. It's $10 for a big bottle. I've had a bottle for the last year, and I use it for things because I'm a night shift worker. I occasionally will use it to help my body to sleep after a big night shift where my circadian rhythm's out. So what I did over there is when it was the right time to sleep in their time zone. So I think I flew over on the plane, and it could have been 3 in the afternoon here, but it was nighttime there. I had 3 milligrams of melatonin, and it allowed me to help me to fall asleep, and sort of told my body, hey, this is the new circadian rhythm, let's quickly get into it. And then I followed that routine. I've got a bunch of articles on that I've read, and good information. So if anyone's traveling a lot and doing that, it's it helps a lot to.
Mate, I'm gonna be picking your brain after this to get a heap of these books and stuff that you're reading, mate. It sounds like you spend a lot of time on your own education, which is awesome.
Yeah, it definitely helps, and I've always just loved to learn and listen to the top guys, what they're doing in their fields, and that's how I've always made my program. I've picked the top, stuff from the top runners, the top strength guys, and you bring it into one area. And something little like that, it was a game changer because I was pretty much 2 days in or a day in, I had no jet lag and I was fine and felt good to go. Yeah,
and I think once you get to that elite level, it is just those little 1%ers, man. You just keep finding those little 1%ers.
Yeah.
How can I squeeze another 1%? How can I squeeze 1% here, 1% there, and it all fucking combines?
Yeah, 100%.
Cool, man. Cool. So, a couple of people are asking. Miranda's just said, "Yep, depending on the person, that's the key. No one size fits all." I think she's talking about nutrition. Find what works for you. I was talking to Hunty last week. He said his go-to before a race is a banana. Bananas fuck me before a race. I love bananas, but if I have to do heavy exercise, they destroy me. I get reflux. Matty Probes.
Yeah, Hunty loves the bananas. I've seen him eat them. A bit creepy.
He just maintains that steady eye contact while he eats them.
I quite like it though.
the phallic fruit. Matty Probes has just said he's interested in that gut test Chris was talking about. Can it be done in Australia? And what was the name of it, mate? I'll type it into the chat.
Viome, Viome. Actually, I think, let me just have a quick look. I think it's My Viome. I haven't looked at mine in a while.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Viome, Viome. Cool. And basically, all the testing's now in Australia, so you go on the site, they send it over here. And I know they always have some sort of discount code bringing it down to like $110. So go on, have a little look.
Google it before you do it.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. They've just got the top scientists working on it and the right researchers, and they've got such a big sample now using it. They've made it quite affordable, and it was pretty amazing to see some of the changes. And they recommend to retest again in like 6 months. I think it's been over a year for me, and I haven't retested. I'll probably retest again in maybe another 6 months or something. I don't really use a lot of different things like that, but for the price I paid, it's like a dinner or a couple of beers out. Right. It was a pretty cool thing to do, so check it out.
Yeah, it's all comes down to priorities, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah.
People always say, fuck, I can't afford to do this or I can't afford to do that. It's like, how much did you spend on Uber Eats this week?
It's I know, 100%.
So, cool. What's your do you have an after race, let's relax, eat what we fucking like? Is there a cheat meal? I don't really like the term cheat meal, but is there a go-to meal after a race that you just have a bit of comfort food?
Not really. I mean, I kind of eat those foods whenever I'm kind of feeling like I'm pretty flexible. Like I'll have whatever I want whenever I want it. But leading up to a race, I kind of be a little bit stricter. Maybe the week or two before, I'll just lay off the alcohol. Like I don't drink a lot these days, but having red wine at night with dinners. I'll probably lay off the alcohol, especially in the week leading up, and I'll eat pretty clean. And then, normally that weekend I'll go out and have a couple of beers. And I've kind of steered away though from finishing the race and going straight into big, dirty foods and
big
getting
monster
smashed
rolls
that night. Because I found that's when injuries kind of creep around a little bit. Depending on the race and what it's been. If we've had a big build up and it's been months and training and not drinking or eating the bad foods, I'll probably go out and I won't really bother too much. But if there's another race in 2 weeks, or depending on the time of the season, I might go. Burgers for me, they were pretty good.
They're my go-to, mate.
Yeah,
my go-to. Cool. And what's your 2020 look like? I know you said you're trying to peak for those stadium type races. Have you looked at your calendar for the year and worked out where you're going to go?
So I'm sort of still a little bit up in the air. I know that a few of us they announced some of the Spartan Pro team, and they put me on it this year. Don't know what they're thinking.
I wasn't sure if you'd announced it yet. I didn't want to bring it up. You did message me it the other day, but I was waiting for you to say it. So congratulations, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I was pumped with it because I was happy with the races end of last year and hoping they can carry into this year. It's a little bit tougher with the Australian races because they don't have a stadium. Like in America, there's a whole stadium series where you can go to 10 stadiums in the year, which is where my strengths lie. I'm not as strong in some of the longer beast trail races.
How do you go with the sprints?
So sprints and supers. What I'm doing this year is stadium at the end of the year, Stadium World Champs, High Rocks, is that kind of hour time domain. So I think that 30 to 60 minute sprint super race is going to be my time domain. And then what I like to do is I'll do a lot of my longer efforts. Instead of going for say like a 25k run, I like to do say bricks. So I might go and do a 45-minute bike into a 45-minute run, or 30 minute skier, 30-minute bike, and then 45 to an hour run. So you're running on tired legs, fatigued legs, simulating the end of that kind of beast race. And I'll do that every second week sort of thing. Cool. But the body pulls up really good from that. So it's on the card I haven't decided yet. So basically with High Rocks, how that works, their World Championship finals are in April this year. There's a race in Dallas, 22nd of Feb, which is the week after Stadium. Hunter's racing, Kent's racing. Yancey wants me to come over for it. I'm pretty much about to make the decision the next day or two, whether I go over and do it. And yeah, so if I do that and go well, it'd be pretty cool to race Hunter and Kent again.
Is there much prize money flashing around in the High Rocks?
Well, I know. So I think it's the standard like 1,500, 1,000, 500 US for the places at a High Rocks event. But they were throwing up 5,000 US if you break the world record, which Hunter just did last 2 weekends ago. Wow. Like 5,000, he got bonus. Cool. Berlin in April will be the world champs, so they may have 5, 10k up for grabs. Yeah. Cool. But then there's a few of the national series are sprinkled in, so it's just trying to be smart and kind of work out what to train for, because I think we've got. When does the national series starts in Oberon?
Oberon is the 9th, 8th of Feb, 8th of March.
Yeah, so it'd be a pretty busy 8 weeks if I went Stadium, qualify High Rocks, Oberon, sprint Melbourne, week after Berlin. Then there's 6 weeks off. So yeah, national series. We'll try and hang with the runners and try and do well in Oberon, and then try and smash it in the sprint super.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'll definitely see you at Marvel. I think I'm going to sneak over to the Philippines the week after Marvel. There's a sprint super over there.
Saw your that calendar you put up. Is that your
fucking crazy?
Is that your year?
That's it there.
I didn't know if it was your year or every race on the calendar that's possible.
No, that's just my year. That's my dream year. So I've got this event calendar that I've made, which is just about to launch very quickly. It'll probably go up this week sometime. But basically, I've pulled the feeds from every event that I could find around the world. So I've got like 400, 500 events in this calendar. And it can filter by dates, by times, where you are, what race code, whether it's Bone Frog, Spartan, fucking Tough Mudder. And I basically just sat there and planned what my ideal year would look like if money wasn't an object.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like there's some shit on it there. There's Hut to Hut. Philippines is after that. Philippines is cheap. So I'll get to all the Southeast Asia ones. After Oberon, the week after Oberon, there's Spartan California. And to sneak over for a Cali race, like it's a beast ultra, so I'd like to do it, but it's like it's a fucking $4,000 trip just to go for one race.
That's the thing. That's like what I think too. And I'm kind of I do a bit of extra work and a bit of overtime. I kind of have this thing where because with us over in Australia, it's hard to get sponsors at this stage. And you need to win something. You need to win something big. Like you need to win a world championship, or that's why I'm thinking of High Rocks, because if I'm in a chance to do it and I beat someone like Hunter, huge long shot, but is it possible? You speak to Yancey and he's like, you got to do it. But if you win that sort of race, it kind of puts you on the map a little bit. So I might take a little chance here and there with those things, but I know that dream year and what it looks like.
Mate, I reckon the dream year, I reckon there's 100k in it. I reckon realistically I'll get to 75% of it, and it'll cost me about 50. I probably spent 30, 35 on racing in 2019. So just
tax write-off for you, mate.
Well, that's fine. That's why I built the business, man. I wanted wanted to be able to train, and I wanted to be able to go to events all the time and be able to afford it and have the flexibility.
100%.
And I'm not fast. I'm not fast enough to fucking win. So,
hey, you're a smart man.
so it'll be an interesting year, man. Over there. Do you hit any other codes? Is it do you just stick to Spartans in Australia? I'm sure I've seen you at the Raw Challenge before.
I've done a few Raws. Did True Grit last year. Had a good race with Liam there. That was a good one. Liam and Dylan. I think that was my last race with Liam, and I think I got him. So that was pretty good. But I think he got me in the Spartan before that. So yeah, I've done True Grit. Was a good course. I like that. It's a good 55-minute.
Is that
sort of like that.
True Grit New South Wales?
Yeah, the one at Lower Portland.
Yep.
That was a good one. Raw Challenge is always good. It's very, very grip heavy, that one though. I haven't really been training as much in that kind of race. Like you look at like a raw 7K race with 60 obstacles, it's like Ninja Warrior style.
Fucking is,
but then you go over to say like a stadium race where it's just work capacity, lactic threshold.
Yeah.
Getting back into a 3-minute kilometer pace after a heavy obstacle, very different. So you can see where the people's strengths lie and who takes those. But yeah, I mean, I reckon the more brands, the better. I mean, they're getting more people involved and getting the name out there. So it's good when they all work together.
Yeah, definitely. And what's 2 pieces of advice, mate? If you say you were talking to somebody who's just getting into the sport, what's 2 pieces of your 2 biggest pieces of advice that you would give to somebody who maybe wants to get a little bit better at it, or maybe doesn't want to make some mistakes that you did?
I'd probably work out a good program. So looking at like what we talked about with deloading, 3 weeks working hard, 1 week deloading, having that good aerobic base. Don't worry about trying to do all the high intensity, the sexy new 8x400 in this pace. Build a really good aerobic base. Build it through biking, ski erg, sled, incline treadmill. Incline tread is a really good one because you can get a lot of mileage and it simulates the hard pounding of what running does. So kind of having that program outline, 3-week build, 1 week deload, and then let yourself recover that week. Cut everything back, and then get strong. Work on your strength. So all your single leg stability work, don't be afraid of that. Your lunges, your step ups, your single leg deadlifts, and then build a good strength base, because the stronger you are, the more resilient you are, the more durable, the less you'll break down. And yeah, maybe either join a good gym or find one of the guys like myself or any of the guys out there doing like online programming, or just hit us up, send me a message anytime. I've always sent people I look up to messages and ask about their training, so talk to one of us and just get a few hints and tips here and there. I'm happy to help you out and send you a few things and get you on the right path.
Yeah, cool. Who are you coaching? Anyone in Australia at the moment?
At the moment, I've been looking at building a bit of a coaching business. I've just got 2 or 3 guys, and then another 2 guys over in just some soccer players in England that I'm kind of just doing their like energy system programming for.
Cool.
I'm not really coaching anyone in obstacle course racing at the moment.
Mate, it sounds like you should be doing it. You fucking know your shit. You've definitely spent a lot of time upskilling yourself. It's
something that I will definitely be moving to, because it sort of works really well around my fiery schedule. When I'm traveling, I can still do it. And I just like building that rapport with people and helping people. So it's something that I will be moving into. It's just working out the right capacity and how to implement it all.
Yeah, cool. Got another couple of questions. Vlad's just said, what's your 2020 plan? We already covered that. Thanks, guys. Got to go bust my ass on a treadmill. We'll catch the end later. Thanks, Miranda. Catch you later. And Vlad's just said, treadmill is my hill training, buddy. I at least once a week, I go and get on the stair climber. Yeah. And I take my buddy iPad here and I just put a fucking TV show on and I just sit there and grind, man, for like an hour. Yeah. Just sit there. Try and leverage your time doing something else.
Yeah. If you're watching a Netflix show or a movie, Like 45 minutes goes by that thing so quick, and low impact, good hill climbing, good strength work.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard if you're not watching anything on a stair climber. Like you look at 8 minutes and you're like, it's been 8 minutes. But yeah, stair climbers are good.
Yeah, definitely. And Kerry's just said a great chat, so much info. Also, research and stuff to try. Thanks both of you. Cheers, mate. We've spent a bit of time talking about places where you get your information. As I said, I'm going to pick your brain for some resources after. Top 5 books.
Top 5.
Have you got a go to? Or maybe most influential, perhaps.
Let me bring up my Audible.
Or G.
I like Audible because the books are about $10 normally, or I think it's $14 a month, and you get one new book every month. Yep. And you can listen to it while you're training. Some people do like a hard copy, but the price of a book and what you gain from a book for $15 is it's ridiculous. Like that's
mate. I started around maybe 2 years ago. I started doing an audio book a week. So I try to stick to. I try to get through an audio book every single week, and I stay pretty close. I'm probably about realistically 40 or 50 books a year.
That's solid.
But you just got to make time, right? That's why, like when I'm on the stair climber or when I'm doing some just low jogging, I'm listening to audiobooks or I walk the dog. But I don't tend to read physical books anymore, just because I can't leverage my time as much. So it's only like if I'm on a flight or something like that. But what I tend to do now is a lot of audiobooks, and then if I get something that's there's one called Matt Fitzgerald wrote, a guy that I mentioned before, called How Bad Do You Want It? And it's sort of written like a sports biography where he talks about different athletes and different challenges that they've overcome, and then goes right into the science and what was actually happening there. Fucking amazing book. I'll send you a link if you haven't read it.
It's in my Audible. Yeah, I've read that.
Fucking amazing. So there's a couple that I've gotten like that I'll get the audio and then I'll go, this is really fucking good, and then I'll buy the actual hard copy and like highlight some shit. Yeah,
I do similar things, or I'll just make a couple of notes, or what I'll do is I'll listen to the book and then I'll go find like a synopsis online or like an overview, because people have created them. It is hard sometimes if you don't read the book and you just get the overview. It doesn't make as much sense.
It's shit's out of context.
I find making notes sometimes a bit hard because it's hard to go back and watch them. I've got notes in a lot of my books, but I'll go find an overview, put it into like an Evernote, and I've just got a folder of all the books I've read and a quick overview. Yep. I really liked, what's some of my books? Atomic Habits.
By James Clear.
A really good book.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I actually get his weekly email, which you might get. Have you seen his 321 email?
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, so he's really good. A really cool book I like is What Doesn't Kill Us by Scott Carney.
Haven't read that.
So he's a guy, he's a journalist. He was a sort of type of journalist who goes out and he tries to disprove people. And he wants to get down to like the true essence of what someone's about. And he tried to disprove the whole Wim Hof and do all that. And he basically, it's all about going out to nature, and it's an awesome book, but it's just a really good read.
Cool.
David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
Is everyone's probably heard of David Goggins, but that's a pretty cool inspirational book.
Mate, I haven't actually read it. I've got about 10 books there. I just buy them through Apple Books, and I've got about 10 there fucking ready to go, and that's one of them. Yeah. But yeah, I've highly recommended that. And
it's a really good one. What else? 5 Second Rule is a really good one. It's by Mel Robbins.
Okay.
Haven't heard and of that one. It's basically, you don't need to read the book. I'll tell you what it is. It's just when you need to do something, you just start counting down your head from 5, 4, as you know, and then at the end of it, you've got to get up and do it. It goes into the science of why, but it's just for someone like myself who just procrastinates all the time. It's a pretty good one. And then that Jack Daniel's running formula is a really good one. And yeah, there's a lot of like strength and conditioning and like sports science books I've read over the years. They do get pretty deep, but the Jack Daniels is a really good one. And then just listening to all the podcasts, you know, if you're looking at obstacle course training, go on and listen to, you know, OCRM and Obstacle Dominator and all those guys. They've got a few. You can sift through all their podcasts and find like training programs and tips and techniques and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool. Carlos has just asked stretching. How much stretching do you do a week?
Pretty much every day I'll do some sort of stretching and mobility, whether it's just opening up the hip flexors and glutes. You know, I'll do at least 5 to 10 minutes every day. If you don't know what a couch stretch is, look it up. Look up Kelly Starrett couch stretch or just couch stretch. It's just basically it's amazing for runners and anyone that sits down at a desk. Opens up the front of the hip, kind of reverses what running does. Having a really good open hip helps your hip angle when you're running. So couch stretch every day. And I like to have a little rule where if I'm for every, say, kilometre I run, or I'll do, say, a minute of stretching. So if I just go out for a 10 kilometre run, I'll come back and I'll do 10 minutes of stretching afterwards. Just whether it's like the calves or the hips, getting a ball in there, doing like a bit of a spider stretch or some yoga stretching. So I'm probably doing 10 minutes at least every night. And have a little trigger ball with me. Do that at night too when watching TV. But yeah, at least 10 minutes every night.
Yeah, cool. That answers that one. We've got a couple more questions, and then I got one more for you, man. Unless there's anything else you wanted to chat about, I've had you for a good while today. Everyone's just saying thanks, mate. Darren's saying Liz up in Mullaney. His normal Runsey Hill training. Thanks, Chris. Awesome info. Darren's just said he was thinking about some audiobooks. Sharon's just said thanks. So, very welcome, guys. Last one, mate. Last question is funniest race fail. What's the funniest thing you've had go wrong?
Funniest thing. I was trying to think of this before, and I wasn't sure. Does being on the Australian Spartan TV show count? Does it or not? That's not a race.
Mate, that counts. I forgot to mention the Spartan TV show.
Yeah, so we were on season 2 of that, and
runner up.
We were runner up in it, and I think if you go back about a couple of posts back in my Instagram, you'll see I've got the final run posted.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up now.
It's like a 12-minute run. But we get to the final of the whole season 2, and the final is like we've gone through all the ups and downs, and it's 2 teams racing side by side, and basically it's 3 obstacles, 2 teams racing. We get to the final big slip wall, and that's it. Yeah, so jump on, have a look at that.
I have seen it. It's good. It's a good video.
We get to that, and we're probably 2 to 3 minutes ahead of the second team.
Yeah, you're fucking killing it.
It's just get over this slip wall, you've won, and all the other slip walls are cruisy. They made this longer and they made it a bit more slippery, and we couldn't get over it. It was too big. It was just physically too big. The other team finally gets there. They can't get over it, and they were pretty strict with all the rules at the start on how to, you can't use this bit of tape, you can't do that, and we were like, okay, like they were very insistent on it, and they get to the wall, and then they finally take their shirts off and they use it as a rope.
Yeah, it's come back to me now.
And they use the rope to then climb up because the wall was too big. And then we're just sitting there looking at them going, is this happening? And
it's frustrating to watch, mate. You guys are trying to build the sand up and try different things.
We were just body on the line. And I mean, hey, that's TV.
Definitely.
That's what, at least we didn't get portrayed as some weird ass people on the show. But yeah, when there's 150k on the line and you've got it, it's not like you're pretty much there and you've got it. They're like, here you go, and then they're like, oh no, you can't have it. So that was a pretty tough pill to swallow. Other races though, I've done a couple. I mean, I mentioned that 24-hour race I did, and did my knee like 20 hours into it, and pretty brutal. Some of the endurance ones. I mean, I think the last 2017, 18, I think I managed to fall off every obstacle, every balance beam there was. I think Lockie's given me a bit of shit for that in the past.
Yep.
But that won't be happening this time. So yeah, any other thing fun? I think one of the 12-hour races we had, Raw Challenge 12-hour Enduro.
Yep.
So I was in the teams with Hunty and Ryan Robertson,
Yep.
Scotty Campbell. I think we won it that year. And Quinton.
Quinton Gill.
Quinton Gill. He was Canadian. He was doing the
Gilly goat.
singles.
Yep.
Yeah. He was doing the individual. He was doing really well. And I think he came in halfway through. Our pit camps were next to each other, and he was cramping. He was dying. He was out. And we pretty much managed to massage him back to race fitness. And I think he went on to, win or come second to Lockie in that race. But I just vividly remember just massaging him for about half an hour, and it was just, it was good.
It was 2018. I think he did come second to Lockie.
2018, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Cool. Is he coming over? Does he live here, or does he live in Canada?
Yeah, so he was teaching up north in Queensland.
Okay.
And he's back. He's back for this year.
Yeah, cool.
He's got his visa.
Yeah.
He's teaching up there, but he's not coming for the stadium.
Okay.
I was sad about that, because he would have been we've done a couple sessions back in the day. We went to the track and did some stadium ones, and he's sort of built like me, and he's got the same sort of training as I do, so he would be tough in a stadium. But he's not coming for that. So we're just going to have to get past the Lockies and the Hunties and the Mackenzies. But there's going to be a few people in that first race. It's going to be a good start line.
Definitely. All right, man. Well, that's pretty much all from me. I've just thrown your Insta up on so people can go and check out that Spartan TV show, the IGTV episode. It is worth watching. It's pretty cool if you didn't catch it on TV. Mate, anything else you want to plug or anything else you want to talk about? Otherwise, mate, that's pretty much all from me.
It's been a good morning. Thanks for having me, mate. And if anyone wants to get in contact, just send me a message and I'll be happy to help.
Sweet as, mate. Sweet as. It's been my pleasure and very insightful and learnt a lot. And mate, I'm going to send you a video. I'm going to send you a message straight after and try and get a couple of resources from you as well. So, too easy, mate.
Yeah. No worries, buddy.
Appreciate you taking the time.
Too easy. Have a good day, mate.
See you, buddy.
Cheers.